Isn't it just the cutest little thing? It's zoomed in a bit, so you can like unzoom. Got that? Very good. Very nice. They're so cute. They're just, I don't know, they're just the cutest little guys. They're just so cute. Oh, my nails are ugly. Okay, so I figured I'd just show you quickly how I like to set these guys up when they're new. I like to keep them very simple. I like to keep them separate from the time they're born. I used to grow them together, but sometimes they'll scare each other, they'll lose a tail. Other than them scaring each other, Avery one time scared the tail off one of them, and I had to have a nice little talk with her. But it sucks when, like, it can happen, like, they can just lose their tail, but I try my best to kind of just keep all their tails, because it's just, why not? Like, when you're buying an animal, you want it to be, like, in as perfect condition as possible. They're perfectly fine without their tail, too. They call them monkey butts, and some people like that. If I'm selling something, I want it to be perfect. I like to keep things really nice, and this is what works for me. I have friends that disagree, and we're still friends. We can still be friends and have different opinions and disagree and all that. But I have friends that say, you know, the only way to do it is bioactive. They say it makes it a lot easier, and having it bioactive is nicer and easier because the humidity stays in easier. With these, I have to bloody change the water and clean them and feed them like every day or so. Otherwise, it like can get moldy, it can get yucky, things can go wrong. But I like doing it like this. It's sterile, and there's no possibility of anything going wrong unless it's just like sick or something. I've tried bioactive, and for adults, yeah, use bioactive. But when they're this small, like look at that cute little helpless thing. It wants to go off an adventure and get into all sorts of trouble. When I've put these little guys on substrate, I've lost a few to them eating substrate, or you know, you spray the home, then they're drinking water, next thing you know they're drinking substrate, and they die. I've never lost any geckos keeping them like this. Once you put them in their forever home, yeah, put them in a nice big home, give them substrate, give them UV, do whatever tickles your fancy. For me, this is what consistently works. I have a nice plastic container. We have some ventilation on both sides so it has nice air going through. Because you want to be able to spray it, you want it to be wet, it can drink, and then by the end of like the next day, so we spray it, it's got some water, only paper towel on this side, and I have this on that side. So it's like the water goes on the plastic, the water lasts longer, it drinks the water off the fake leaves from the dollar store, it keeps the water a little bit longer than if you do paper towel everywhere. The paper towel gets moist, it gets soggy, and it gets too damp. Then what I like to do is put in one of these containers from the dollar store also, and I'll later on in their life I'll use this container to offer them little bugs and stuff, and the bugs can't get out. When they're little, all they get is the little food mixture, just a little bit of food mixture, and I'll actually put that in there, so it teaches them to get used to going there to get their food. So they'll get their food there when they're little, and it'll only be that, and then later on when they get bigger I'll alternate. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll just put a few little bugs in there and they'll eat it, and then the next day or two then I'll offer them food. I've had a really good success with that, and they can stay in there for a while, and then once they get bigger we upgrade them to bigger containers where they can crawl around and stuff. That's just the basic setup and what I like to do. Woo! Ouch. That's just like simple, keep it simple, stupid, right? Lots of the time things can get overwhelming if you don't have a system. So by having I have ADD, so it's like if I don't, I'm so unstructured. Like I'm just everywhere all the time. So when I put a little bit of structure into my life, when I come up with a system for what works, then I can just do it over and over and over again. Then it becomes repeat. Okay, water, thing, bowl, system, and it becomes simple. It's not overwhelming. You can just do it, and wham, bam, bam, next, and it just becomes nice and easy. And that's basically how I set up my baby Crested Geckos. If you want, oh, for a nice little feeding tip, click on the first video. Otherwise, check out the second video. Yeah.